Went from America's most beloved team to America's most hated team. You had few moments where people just don't like you. You had a few players. People didn't like them. But I want to know, why do I think the Grizzlies have had recent failures? And I'll say my 3 reasons why. Firstly, I'm going to start with the players who are still on the team, and Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. Your star players, your all-stars, they're regressing. In my opinion, they're regressing. They're not progressing, they're regressing. Ja Morant, your problem is your off-the-court antics is what's killing your career. And then not only that, you're always injured. Jaren Jackson Jr., well, Ja Morant falls on this category too, but Jaren Jackson Jr., you can't stay consistent. And then not only are you not consistent, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant, but for Jaren Jackson Jr. just himself, you're always in foul trouble. You can't stay in the game because you're always in foul trouble. But then my second reason, you traded away the wrong guy and you paid the wrong guy. Now, I know people are going to think, oh, you're talking about Desmond Bane? Yeah, they shouldn't have got rid of Desmond Bane. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about that man who's playing in Phoenix right now in the name of Dillon Brooks, who wears number 9. They should not have gotten rid of Dillon Brooks. They shouldn't. They should have kept him. You should have paid Dillon Brooks. You should have kept Dillon Brooks. I would have traded away Jaren Jackson Jr. And here's the reason why. Dillon Brooks was their core competitor. There is a difference in what Ja Morant, than Desmond Bane, their antics. It was different from their trash talk versus Dillon Brooks' trash talk. Dillon Brooks will trash talk, and he'll get all up in your face, and he'll actually defend you. He'll try to show himself to you. He will prove himself to you. He's like, I'm going to make sure you don't score. And guess what Dillon Brooks do? He guards you the entire game. That's what Dillon Brooks does. Dillon Brooks is like a rage baiter. But then he was a rage baiter who was hooping. He was a rage baiter before Desmond Bane even got there. He was helping Ja Morant. Because I will never forget when the Memphis Grizzlies first made the playoffs with Ja Morant. I think he was a rookie. And they played against the Utah Jazz because I think they were the number 1 seed at the time. And Memphis was the number 8 seed. People weren't talking about Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. They were talking about Ja Morant and Dillon Brooks. Because Dillon Brooks was lighting it up on Utah. Let's not forget that. Dillon Brooks was always lighting it up when he was in Memphis. But the one thing they did was the media pushed the narrative that Dillon Brooks was the bad guy because he tested LeBron. He tested the Lakers. And then when they got eliminated from the playoffs, guess what everybody did? They started blaming Dillon Brooks. They said they got to get rid of Dillon Brooks. They started pushing all of the hatred on Dillon Brooks because they said he was talking too much. When in reality, Dillon Brooks was just being a competitive guy. That's how all athletes are. In reality, we got to look at maybe Ja Morant was too inconsistent. Jaren Jackson Jr., he was inconsistent and he was in foul trouble. How about that? Dillon Brooks has proven I'm not the problem. Because when he left Memphis and went to Houston his first season, guess what he did? He made the playoffs. And I forgot what seed they were, but I think they were the 4th seed. I can't remember. But they made the playoffs. And look what he's doing in Phoenix. He's hooping in Phoenix. So Dillon Brooks has proven I'm not the problem. Now, credit Desmond Bane. People can say he was a second option, third option, depending on how you want to look at it. Before Desmond Bane got there, Dillon Brooks was the second option. I always thought Dillon Brooks was the second option for Memphis. But then Desmond Bane, when he started coming up and he started rising and scoring and everything like that, I think they drifted away from him being that second option and started putting him as a 3-and-D guy. When in reality, I mean, he can knock down the 3-ball, yes. But then they looked away from him as we're going to look at you as an option for us to score, to help us to win as a scorer. And just be a defender. They didn't look at him like that anymore. They just looked at him as a guy who runs his mouth and can't ever back it up and gets us killed every single night. I felt like, in my opinion, on that Grizzlies team, I thought Dillon Brooks was the leader. I thought he was the leader. If it wasn't him, then it was Tyus Jones. And even if, on my last reason why I think they've been struggling, you've gotten rid of your core leaders that helped that team. The Dillon Brooks, the Tyus Jones. You got rid of the guys like Luke Kennard. You should have got rid of him. You got rid of the guys like Desmond Bane. You got rid of the guys like Caldwell Pope. You got rid of all of those guys. And you shouldn't have done it. I might be wrong on the Caldwell Pope thing. I think he's still in it. I can't remember. I can't remember what team he's on. But I know he's in the league. But you got rid of some key guys for that roster that they should not have got rid of. The main guys I think they shouldn't have got rid of was, firstly, Dillon Brooks, secondly, Tyus Jones, and thirdly, Desmond Bane. You shouldn't have got rid of those guys. And Dillon Brooks, like I said, he's proving that he is not the problem. I think they should have got rid of Jaren Jackson Jr. more than they should have with Dillon Brooks. And with Ja Morant, right now, the way he is looking, I think they should not have got rid of Desmond Bane. They probably should have got rid of Ja Morant. The way Ja Morant is looking right now with Memphis and the way the current situation is looking with them, I don't think that this is going to last any longer. If anything, it's going to look worse. It's going to look worse. But that's just my honest opinion, though. That's the three reasons why I think Memphis has been struggling in recent years. Because Memphis hasn't always been a bad team. I could think back when they've had the Mike Conleys, Tony Allens, Taurean Princes. Not Taurean Princes. The light skin, his name was Prince. It was a different Prince, but he was light skin. I can't remember his name. I think it was Tayshaun Prince. And then you had Zach Randolph. You had the Marcus Sauls. You had, and you could even say Jared. You could even say the Jared Baylesses. You could say all those guys, of course. But that Grizzlies team, the Grizzlies never had a bad roster like that. You can even say the Courtney Lees, the Mario Chalmers, all those guys. You can even say Vince Carter if you want to put him in that category. But the reasons why I think they've been struggling was, like I said, firstly, your stars, they're never there on the floor, and then they're too inconsistent. One game, they're dropping 30. The next game, they drop 15. One game, Jaren Jackson got 15 or 10 rebounds. The next game, he got 1 or 2 rebounds. One game, Jaren Jackson Jr. has he barely has. It's like he barely has any fouls where it's under 1 in any game. But Jaren Jackson Jr. is too much in foul trouble. Ja Morant, you're too much off the court drama with gun stuff, and then you say stuff off the court, and then you just can't back it up when you play because you're always injured. And then when you're not even injured, you just don't perform. Like this year is career lows for Ja Morant. I done made a video about that when he called Klay Thompson a bum. And then secondly, like I said, I think they traded away the wrong guy. They should have kept Dillon Brooks. They thought he was the villain. He was never the villain. In my opinion, he was not the. I love LeBron. I think he's my GOAT, but I don't think Dillon Brooks was the villain. And then lastly, you trade away key players that you shouldn't have traded away. Like I said, Dillon Brooks, Tyus Jones, Desmond Baines, of course. But y'all could also let me know in the comments what y'all think about this. Do y'all agree with what I'm saying, or do you guys think I'm wrong? But I want to know your honest opinions. That is it. And like I said, this is nothing but my personal opinion. This is not any facts. This is just my opinion of why I think they have been struggling. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you share this video out to anybody who's a Grizzlies fan or a huge NBA fan. And let me know your input, your insights on what you think of what I've said. Is there anything I've missed? Is there anything I said wrong? Is there anything? What? Just let me know. But that's going to consist of this video, so make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And that's going to be done.